All right, so today for our Atelier talk, we have Daye Caiden. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing pretty well.
You look rested.
Thank you. I did rest decently well. I think it was like a 7 hour sort of thing.
Yeah, good. I think that's standard. Yeah,
Yeah,
what they say. You can live on that. Depends how much sleep debt you've accumulated, but you can do that.
that's right.
It's
That's
a
right.
real thing.
Yeah, I end up catching up like if I do like 6 or 5, like I find myself sleeping exactly the other like hour and a half,
Yeah, right. Just making up for it.
almost precisely like on the dot.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. Bodies are interesting.
Yeah,
It's-
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, I just before this talk, I got to watch the video on YouTube.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
What is the name of the song again?
I think it's blue if it's the last one that I
Oh,
did.
I saw the one on your Instagram. It's Keep. Is it Keep?
Keep me. Yeah, that's the one.
That's
Keep
right.
me. Yeah,
Dude,
man.
talk to me about that video. I really enjoyed it.
That was one that was actually inspired by the instrumentation. I started on drum machine if I remember right, and it had just like an interesting feel. And I was like, I don't usually write to this type of sequence and this type of pattern, so I'm like, okay, we'll start there, and then um, just built it from like guitar and then bass and drums, and then I was like, I'll add words to this now. And it turned out to be one of the more truer songs I've written. And sometimes I'm usually just starting with a melody or starting with something like that,
Mm.
and that was cool. That was like a nice surprise by the end of it. And as I was building each of the parts up, I would just play it live, and that took a little bit to try to get the best takes out of all those. But it built up really nice, man.
Mm.
And yeah, it turned out to be an important song for me. So I still sing it and stuff, and it's one that if I'm doing it live, I usually just play it to the track. It's the first time I've been doing backing tracks for that. So yeah, karaoke style, Day Caden.
That's wild. Have you figured out an acoustic version too, or you kind of just settled in like that's
I need to. I've been trying to. When it comes to the live performances, I think it's important to keep them as live as you can. So I need to do something with the acoustic with that. I'm sure if I can remember the chords or something, and maybe pull out the guitar on the track, and then I don't know, man,
it's
something like
interesting
that.
with the song like that because you actually wrote it from the production.
Yeah.
So
Right,
for that to be backtracked, that makes sense. The ones that I feel like get weird are the ones that were written like on an acoustic, but then like right, they went into the studio and they put a bunch of
right.
stuff on it, and then they're like, oh well, we have to capture the CD quality, so then let's put a bunch of backtrack, and then
Yep.
I feel like I can tell the difference. It's like, oh, this probably wasn't how it was originally created.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit different, and I think it made it different for what I typically make, like my typical sound and stuff. So I hope it, at least for me, it was a different mindset, and that's always fun to get in, especially if you. I was in. I've been in ruts where I don't write at all, and sometimes doing something completely different can pull you out of it, which is nice.
Yeah,
So, and it did for me. So that was, yeah, that's the one.
that's wild, dude. I've been reading this like song business of songwriting book, and yeah, it talks about, of course, right? It talks about like those ruts that everyone kind of goes in and out of or through. And
Yeah,
it talked about, this is the thing that stuck with me. It talked about how it's possible that when you're in a rut creatively, that there's something in your life that's unfinished.
right.
Yeah.
Like some type of emotional or barrier, like maybe trauma or something.
Yeah, I think
Something that
possibly
needs to
that.
be worked out, or yeah. I believe that, man. Sometimes I wake up with a song in my head and I know that's the one I have to do, or something like that. And if I don't do it, it's still there like 2 weeks later, and it's still knocking on my door, and I don't know how
Dude,
to. Yeah, you might know how that feels. Yeah.
how weird is that, man? How weird is that? I'm in it right now, literally right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry, I'm yelling.
You know,
Yeah.
it's all good. It's wild. It's a crazy thing to feel. But yeah,
Yeah.
it'd been probably the longest time since I'd written. It's probably
Mhm.
been like I've been making music every day and like doing all like other things and stuff, but really, really
Sure.
like creatively sat down and like processed something deep and all of that. It's been
Yeah.
like there was one thing, but maybe 2 months, man, like really. And so it was just like I knew it was gonna happen again, but I had all this stuff that I needed to do. I really wanted to get caught up on recording and other things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so
The things you have to do.
yeah. But also like things that I wanted to do that I
For
wasn't
sure.
because I just kept writing and kept processing, which I
Hmm.
love. But you also
Right, right. But I guess it's the balance.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, between both of those. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard. That's a hard thing, man. Yeah, I've been there and I'm still there in a lot of ways. Sorry, I'm sweating. This is a hot, sunny Tucson, and I'm feeling it in this room. But
Tucson, dude. What's the
um,
temperature over there?
yeah. Oh, I don't even know. We could look it up. Let me see. It beat 100 yesterday, so I'm sure it's
Woo.
above that. But it's bad, man. 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Tucson. Let's see. Tucson temp. We have to do it. We're gonna do it. 107 right now, man.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
dude, the
It's
AC
good.
building is in the corner, and so I'm not gonna turn it on because it's gonna make all this noise. So
Yeah,
it's not 100.
yeah. We're both there. That's okay. Yeah. I
Yeah,
got my sweat napkin, so we're all right.
dude.
But yeah, man. Sorry. Back to the writing though. I find that it is important. There's almost like a due diligence as songwriters or people who have um, decided to go into that path of creating something out of nothing. Sometimes the nothing is like telling us to. It's like, hey, put something. This is the thing that's missing. It's these words,
Hmm.
and they're your words, and most importantly, they're here to heal you. So speak them. But people need to hear your story, so do that. And that's usually if I talk myself into it, that's usually the steps. It's like, no, I need to do this for myself. I need to, even though I have these other things that are pressing, I should probably sit down and actually put this down. And when I do, it's a good experience, even if it's a struggle for 4 hours
Mm.
and a lot of this always is a struggle, but that's probably part of the joy too.
Yeah,
Soul forming, right?
yeah. And you feel it as soon as you finish a song, or you know that something actual real got processed. Like, man, this was so
Yep.
important for me to go through.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's even if nobody hears it. I mean, just between you and God type of thing. That's an important moment, connecting to that.
Dude, yeah,
And
that
that can be picking up an instrument too. Sometimes it just depends what you need to be doing and what you're not doing. But
yeah.
anyway, I'm feeling it in a lot of different areas, I guess.
Talk to me about
What's that?
instruments.
Instruments?
Yeah, what is the first instrument that you learned to play?
Oh, I learned to play piano. That was the first one at 6. Um, I took lessons, and I think I only took them for like 2 or 3 years. And I don't think that was ever like, I loved the instrument and I loved music and I liked the way it laid out music. It's still something that I like to approach like a child and, kind of rediscover
Mm.
sound with, because it's laid out really nicely. But I think the instrument I chose for myself was drums. And that was when I came home from school with drumsticks and I was ready to be in the band and do all that stuff and learn the bells. And yeah, drums were my first, I guess the instrument I've been playing the longest. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, but piano is the first. So I'm glad I had that basis in like melody and knowing how chords move around and stuff, and
Mm.
the dexterity of it all, the tactile nature. Drums have that same thing, but it's a little bit different with the rhythm versus the groove of the thing, or I'm sorry, versus the melody. So
Mm. When did you pick up guitar?
guitar, I picked up. Um, I was 12 or 13, actually 13. Um, and I think that was around the time I started listening to and picking my own music and listening to rock music. And I listened to this band called Reliant K that I really liked.
Mm.
And so I picked up guitar to learn how to write my own songs and put all those emotions out in a normal, I guess not normal, but in a new way for me. I don't
Yeah.
think I'd ever had that outlet before. Um, the drums were definitely like a good outlet, but the words I think got closer to the heart of what I wanted to do. Um, and yeah, that's when I started picking up guitar. I
Mm.
took lessons for like 5 years, and then my teacher told me I have to start learning how to sing too. He's like, because people are gonna you to play music in church. And sure enough, like a week after he mentioned that, I had to step up. Instead of just being the backup guitar guy, I had to be the guitar guy and worship leader
Mm.
for the youth group. And I think I was in, let me think, 8th grade for that. And then I did it throughout high school. But it was always an uncomfortable situation whenever I had to pick up more guitar or more instruments, or, you know, move from snare drum to drum set. And then all that stuff always made me shaky. And, but it all actually like developed me into what I do now. And I was able to take all that stuff and move it over to the studio and help other people, or, you know, play drums on their record, or do, you know, so I love all that. I love the background and all that stuff, despite the challenge of it and the hours of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is there an instrument that you're being challenged to learn now?
Uh, yeah, drum machines and synthesizers. And
Mm.
that's because it's almost like a whole science of not in with the drum machine as much, but with the synthesizers, I'm trying to actually learn what oscillators are, and envelopes and filters and all that stuff, because I like how you're synthesizing sounds from like just the basic building blocks of sound, like a sine wave, and then you're combining 2 sine waves and then maybe turning one into a triangle wave. But it's like, you know, it's they're playing together really nice, and it's
Mm.
um, it helps me kind of, I don't know, get out of my head a little bit too, because it ends up being very meditative with just pure tones sometimes. And even
Mm.
when I mess them up and make them sound kind of nasty, it's still pretty metal and still lethargic in one way or another. But
Mm.
yeah, that's the one I'm challenged with right now, which is now challenging me to learn more movements and chords and other things, and actually playing scales and keys and things that I didn't fully learn in on keyboard or piano as a kid. But
Mm.
yeah, that's the one that's challenging right now, is that one. And voice is always the thing I have to. And usually with my voice, I'm trying to unlearn a bunch and just be more natural. But
Mm.
that's, yeah, it's for vocals, at least for me. I'm always
Yeah.
trying to do less.
Mm. Yeah. What is that unlearning? What kind of what have you found you need to
um, Unlearn, like in terms of like the first people that I was learning from were all uh, kind of nasally punk rock, you know, singers or other things. So I sounded a lot like Tom DeLonge in my first band, and then
Mm.
moving on, I guess it's more of, yeah, kind of, I guess as a kid you look up to these people, and you look up to, you know, that type of thing. So you're taking on some of their characteristics and you're modifying it in your own way. But eventually I wanted to get to the point where I'm very like doing it from my own way with my natural voice, and with, you know, with actually natural sound too, with the instruments I'm playing. And uh, yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. I want it to be meditative and in a flow, not trying to emulate. And I've gotten a lot better at that. But I remember that being a thing I was insecure about for a long time. With even vocal comparisons to Tom DeLonge, they said like, you're like Tom DeLonge doing worship music, so, or something
Mm.
like that back in the day. So, but yeah, I'm trying to do more of a, with anything I'm approaching, I try to not, we talked about it a little bit before, but not having an expectation, or like like of perfection or something, or an expectation of like, I'm going to be playing at this level or whatever, you know, and just actually approaching it very um, simplistically, and taking time to just enjoy the notes under your hand, or you know, different tones on the drum, or where you're hitting it, and other things, just enjoying music again in that way,
Mm.
or the basicness of it. And that's with the voice too, just standing on your heels and singing out, and then, you know, just trusting your own voice, uh, which I don't think I did for a long time. So and then you sing in key more when you're trusting yourself, I noticed. And I don't know, that was a, yeah, I think it was also spurred on by this book, Effortless Mastery. um and it's written by a jazz piano player, but he had blocks for so long, and he almost had to reapproach the thing almost like childlike, and um even after having mastered things and doing all of that, he still denied his own voice in the instrument, which is why he wasn't inspired, and why he wasn't getting better, or even having hand problems, or whatever was going on in his life. Like things were showing up in his life that were telling him to turn that around. And so he applied more of a meditative stance to when you approach an instrument, and not having it as a sense of like, um, this defines who I am, or this, that type of thing. You don't want to, you kind of, you're treating it as if you were a kid in play, and you're, going towards that thing. So that was encouraging. So I try to do that as a practice, with most things, especially instruments and stuff. So.
Yeah, synths definitely sound like something that you can play with and have
Oh yeah.
fun.
Oh, for hours. Yeah. It's really fun getting lost in the sounds. And you can do a lot with them. Certain things that you'd have to have a lot of fingers for. You can, set up our arpeggiators and do so many cool things that, I don't know, that level of, I guess, using the technology with, with the sounds. It's cool. You can do a technology with that, and using that, even if it's old analog technology or whatever, it's a fun thing to get lost in, and fun thing to learn how to do. And, with anything, I feel like mixing or whatever the thing is, once you get familiar with it, you can kind of let go and just get in the zone. And I want to be able to do that with the synth. I want to know when I grab something, it's going to do this, and,
Yeah.
and be able to trust what's in my head, and I guess translate that over to a synthesizer or whatever. And, and that's one that gives you a lot of, really specific control over it. I don't have to buy another like synth, or I don't, with guitars and stuff, it's like sometimes you have to buy something different, or even drums, but synthesizers, it's like you can get pretty close. Just get that thing in your head, or discover something new. Just play around. But yeah, definitely.
Have you lived in Tucson your whole life?
Not my whole life. I think I've been here 7 years. I went to college out here, but I grew up in Sierra Vista, Arizona, which is southeast here, 70 miles, and about 15 degrees cooler, and mountains, and we get snow once in a while. So it's a different situation. And I lived out in the middle of nowhere in Hereford, Arizona, which is 15 minutes from the border, pretty close to mostly just farming communities and stuff. But yeah, that's where I grew up. And then I got interested in music through church, but my neighbor happened to have his own recording studio, and that's when I started going over there and recorded my first record with him. Had to finish it myself though, because he had other things, which, a lot of stuff happens. I think it was around the financial crisis in like 2008 too. So he had to go back to work somewhere in a different state. And then I was stuck with like actually having to learn how to do all that stuff on my own. Anyway, though, I moved after that to Nashville to study audio at Belmont, and I went there for a year, and then they didn't have enough faculty to, I guess, let me only be there for 4 years. And I didn't want to be paying 5 years for a degree that, I didn't even know if it would pay off at that point. And a lot of that stuff I'd learned on my own anyway. So anyway, that's when I moved back to Arizona, and I went to school in Tucson, and I've been there ever since. So.
Yeah, I've definitely learned being flexible in this industry.
Yeah.
Pretty important. That's crazy that you had to, I mean, it's crazy, but you hear these stories a lot. Like, you did a lot of your album with someone, and then just circumstances changed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a lot of times I think things get dropped completely, but it's cool. It sounds like you were invested in it so much that you were like, all right,
Oh yeah,
I'm
for
just gonna
sure.
learn all of this stuff because this album needs to get finished. What was the name of that album?
Oh, it was called Cabbages and Kings, and it was in my band in high school called Caitlin from Havasu. And that name came from just this girl at church. They asked, or at a church camp, we were in California at a church camp, and they said, Caitlin from Havasu, get up here and pray. And I was like, that'd be a funny name, Caitlin from Havasu, get up here and play, or something. You know what I mean? Something like that. So we were all nerds in that band. And the nerds wanted the record done too, and I wanted it done. And a lot of it had to do with things that I cared about and that were emotionally going on in my life. So, once again, releasing that was a joy.
Yo, does Caitlin know?
I think she does. Yeah. Cause some of her friends found our band, and then they were all, they were messaging her. I spelled her name completely wrong. It's like Caitlin with a C. I think I spelled it Katelyn or something.
There are like 5 ways to spell Caitlin, dude.
Yeah,
Odds
exactly.
were against you.
Yeah, I know. You're right. I should take it easier.
It's a tricky one, dude. It's a tricky name.
I know. Yeah. I should just know all the ways and categorize them.
That's okay. People are bored. What a time, dude. Talk to me about food, man.
Food.
Yeah, let's
Food
talk
I like.
food.
Food. Right now I could eat a carne asada burrito from El Guero Canelo. I could do that. Their beans are good too, man. Refried beans there.
You like avocado?
Um, oh yeah, yeah. Avocado kills. That's a superfood. That was it is. It's like I don't know. It's a naturally like occurring source of fats. I guess coconut oil too. I shouldn't say, but avocados, it's all in one. And you
Yeah.
put it on sandwiches. You can put it on, burritos, anything. Guac.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I need more avocados in my life, though, man.
Hmm.
Maybe everybody does, though.
I think so.
I don't want to make blanket statements, but try it. Try it, people.
Hey, Caitlin from Havasu. You
Yeah.
need avocados in your life.
Exactly.
I hope she hears this.
I hope you know that, Caitlin. Yeah, exactly. I hope you hear this and know.
That's cool. Okay, so burrito.
Yeah, burrito. That's just a momentary, like, yeah, hunger. But
I love burritos.
yeah, yeah. Um, what else have I been making? I've been making some spaghetti. I know you and I had spaghetti with
Ooh.
Sam that one time.
Yeah.
Spaghetti's always good, man. Um, yeah, because I can't mess that up a lot of times.
Mm.
So, but I cook my own food a lot of times, and I like making stir fry too a lot.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's good. I need to get a wok though. I noticed, I guess there's a way it cooks it better. And so shouldn't do it in a pan anymore.
Bigger, right? So you can just
Yeah.
put more stuff.
Yeah, and launch and flip and do all. Yeah. Exactly. Here, let's fix this. Yeah, I do need the space because it still gets destroyed after every iteration of my flipping skills. But
Yeah.
but it's good. I enjoy that. I like being able to make my own food and doing all that stuff. So I try to find stuff I like to eat. So
Yeah.
that's one of them. And fried rice, I like that too.
Yeah.
Do a lot with white and brown rice.
I think there's some parallel brain activity with making a song and making food.
Totally. I've been thinking about that a lot, actually.
Really?
Yeah, just even having to backtrack and like if you're fixing something over like on the vocal and now it's starting to affect the way the snare drum's sounding or something, something weird where it's like you have to backtrack because it's like, oh, I forgot this was on the stove too. And then, you're running around. It feels exactly like that. And then working on it until it's like, okay, good. That's it. You're ready. It's ready to eat. It's ready to consume. I don't know if it's that easy with songs though, because I get worried that like, I don't know, I could cook that thing all day, and never release it. But it needs to be. And when's the time? Is it when your friend tells you it's time to be done, or?
See, that's the thing. If you start cooking for other people, you'll quickly realize, like, or you cooked for me when I was here. So
For sure. Yeah.
it's like when you cook for other people, you realize that it's a complicated process. You can't just like make it for yourself and enjoy it if it's just spaghetti. Like,
no, that's true. That's true.
People are picky, man.
Yeah, they are. And they add salt to things, and you're like, what?
Yeah, dude, that's it. This isn't enough salt. That's the thing. And I'm just like, why do you want more salt? Doesn't salt like kill people?
Right, exactly.
Food, man.
Yeah, exactly. Come on. I'm trying to keep you alive.
Yeah, and it's easier. It's less ingredients anyways, but
yeah.
Hey.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I've been
eating out and people just put a bunch of stuff in everything, so
I know. My cheat is just if it's not tasting good, I usually spice it up. But that's when I'm alone. I can't spice it up for my girlfriend if I'm cooking for or anything like that. It's like either too much for or something. I don't know. So it's hard. You can't please anybody, man.
My head sweats, man, with spicy stuff.
Yeah.
Me
too. I get it everywhere.
But you sweat in the heat, right? Yeah.
Yeah. See, kind of like exactly.
See, that's the weird thing with me is like it can be 120 degrees, and I'm not really sweating, and then all of a sudden I eat one spicy thing, down.
Clears you out.
And it's itchy, bro. Oh, it's weird.
Really? Oh no, that's crazy. Yeah. See, I don't know. Maybe it's the buildup from not sweating. It all just comes out, and then
I
with
think
the
so.
spicy foods. Like catching up on sleep, it's catching up on the
Yeah.
sweating. I don't know.
So I need it in my life, you're saying.
You need eat more hot stuff, man. Get
Yeah.
some spice. The spice of life.
Dude, what have you been listening to lately?
Ooh, I've been listening to the new Phoebe Bridgers record a lot.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's called Punisher. It's very, very good. It's she does a lot of sound design stuff with synths and stuff too. And
Mm.
check out, I mean, even from track one with that, if yeah, check that out. It just they had it as a single for a while, and I was like, this is strange how they did this, because usually folk music or even indie stuff, it's pretty straightforward with the instruments, but all of it felt like it was sent through like a drum machine or a sequencer or something, and like really compacted, and everything had its place. Anyway, so I've been enjoying that with her record, and the words are always uh yeah, they always get to me.
Mm.
It's like a continuation of, and I don't want to boil it down to that, but it helps. It goes back to like Elliott Smith days for me and other things, and I know she's resonated with those types of songwriters and stuff. So yeah, Phoebe Bridgers, Jamie Wyatt, she's making country music that I've been listening to. Um, who else has released stuff? Protest the Hero released a good metal album. It's pretty timely. That's like prog metal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Been listening to them. Um, who else? I think Sarah Shook and the Disarmers.
Mm.
They're they've got like an upright bass player and stuff, and it's like really good country music. Like I'd really recommend Sarah Shook.
Ooh.
But
That's
she's
great.
got a voice too that's like pretty powerful. It
Mm.
gets to me something about, and I'm not one who like usually goes out and looks for country music, but when it finds me, and that's when I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do this, I got to do it, got to listen. But those are the bands I'm listening to right now.
Dude, that's rad.
Yeah,
And dude, I feel that with Phoebe. Um, it's pretty heavy, right? Like the lyrics, like the word. Sometimes the words she's saying, I'm not like, oh, those are heavy words, but I feel it.
the way she's saying it, maybe.
Yeah, the whole process. I feel like
Yeah,
it's definitely a heavy transmission of emotion.
yeah.
So talk to me about that. Like how do you connect with that?
With
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, like what how does that connect to your soul?
well, I'm always putting myself, if I'm listening to Phoebe, I'm always putting myself in her shoes, or trying to. Um, and I'm not even having to try to. Sometimes it feels like it reflects old relationships or other things like that. And she is one whose voice did that pretty clearly, where it's a lot of feeling. Not saying the lyrics aren't simple or not conveying it as well, but there is something about, and I've been thinking about that. There's something behind the words, and there's something about music being an emotive type thing first, and
Mm,
then the words following. Because if I'm thinking, if somebody even didn't know the words to Phoebe Bridgers, what she's saying and stuff, I think they'd still get the sentiment of the,
yeah.
or the pain, you know what I mean, or the gravity of it,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome. And I think she's tapping into that just by being really, really clear with how she feels about that thing, and working on the lyrics, and then in the studio, I assume she's just letting loose. I saw one video where she's just screaming her head off
Wow.
beforehand, and it's almost like really primal. Um, I don't know how she keeps going after, how does she gets her soft vocals after she's yelling like that? But I don't know. Maybe she's trained.
Yeah. Mm,
The, but I don't know, man. I think it's a tapping into your truest heart, and I find that with her. Like I saw her live in Tucson a couple of years ago, and I think I did cry on the last song. It made me emotional, and I think it wasn't her song even. It was Mark Kozelek's tune of "You Missed My Heart,"
mm,
and which she plays on her record, but she made it her own, and it's her voice actually like does it for me
yeah.
with that. And I think sometimes it's cool, even that being a cover, her inserting herself into Mark Kozelek's story or whatever. It that added some gravity to that song for me too, and her voice. But I think all that's connected to kind of being that clear channel of your truest heart, or what God's put on your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
I might be a practice. It might be like that simplifying and being in the moment type of feeling.
Presence.
Yeah, or in the even in the midst of like your the pain and all that stuff, presence, like being able to sit with it for a bit and not swim in it, but like sit with it. And I
Yeah.
think that helps. That helps me as long as I'm not swimming in it for too long.
So not staying there.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's a thought right there.
yeah, because
'Cause
I yeah,
mm,
go for it,
uh,
go for it.
no, it makes sense. It's like you dig and you dig and you dig deeper and deeper and deeper because you know there's something down there that hasn't been addressed.
Right,
Something that you've suppressed unintentionally, maybe intentionally, I'm not sure. But either way, it's helped you to not have to deal with it yet.
right,
Like it
right,
wasn't the right time. But then
right.
sometimes, like, we put so much other stuff on top, it's really hard to get to it.
Yeah,
Dig,
right,
dig, dig. And it's like, you can only uncover so much in one day.
right.
You start
Exactly.
exposing all of these things that maybe you haven't dealt with, and you're like, oh, I just want to like figure out all these things because obviously it's helping me. But then all of a sudden, I don't know, for me, I get really tired.
Oh, for sure. And you can't live life.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel it, man. That's I get really tired too, and I don't, and then I'm unmotivated to do other things, even though I'm going in my mind over a lot of that stuff. Um, I keep thinking a lot of that head knowledge, it becomes wisdom when it's acted out in your body, and your body has to rest some days,
Mhm.
and it takes days to actually, and interactions with other people, because I think those things that bring me turmoil, a lot of times talking to that, like the people who come into my life or in and out of my life, just randomly it brings it up, and then I'm starting to talk about it, and then so you know what I mean, it's like 2 days later I had to talk about that thing to actually get past it. I couldn't have sat on my, laid on the couch for 2 hours, or that wouldn't have helped, or maybe it did, but I wouldn't have I didn't figure it out that day.
Mm.
So I don't know, man. That's a hard thing.
Other songs can take you there quickly too, I've found. And I think
Definitely.
that that's because their process was similar. Like they did
Exactly.
all this work getting to something that was meaningful that not a lot of people deal with, or at least they hadn't dealt with. And you hear it and you
For
hear them
sure.
dealing with it and going there, and you're like, oh, yeah, yep.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And I'm
it.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then they kind of, right, then I think they can transmit going there, which is difficult and troublesome and takes a lot of effort, but then they can also transmit like coming back.
Hmm.
And I love songs that have the whole process.
Totally. Yeah.
To have all of the process, like it's fine too, but man, if a song can like go all the
Right.
way deep, grab something and come back up,
Yep. Yep.
man, I
Yeah.
love songs like that because that
Me
can
too,
kind of
man.
take you through the whole process, and,
Right.
and then you can get back to life.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Right. Not saying that isn't part of life, but I
Yeah.
know I beat myself up when I'm like, I'm not doing life. And it's like, no, you're just stuck in the pain right now, and
Mm,
sit with it, or as long as you need to, but then get up.
mm,
Um, yeah. No, that's important though, man. Especially, yeah, even songs or writing, like reading other people's writing, like I don't know, that always, if I can see their transformative journey and how it didn't stop them, and in fact it made them into a more truer version of them, a more beautiful, less codependent, or less, however, whatever they were going through type of thing. It's like, oh, cool, okay, good, good, and I'm not helpless. And yeah, and I think that's why, back to like Reliant K or any of the bands that I started listening to, I think that's why I resonated with that a lot. I want to have that. They did do well with that, I think. And now that I'm thinking about it, if I had to analyze a band, they have that transformative, like they did it over an album cycle, though. I feel like, I don't know if it happened in songs per se, but one of their breakup albums, Forget Not Slow Down, I felt like it came to that conclusion of a very clear transformative experience. And I think that's like that's what art's about, and that's what music's about too. It's to transform, and to display transformation in the
Uh,
person that, you know, that's writing it or singing it. And um, yeah, because I think that's what we're here for. I think we're here to transform and grow and
mm,
love each other more, love ourselves more, probably primarily, and then other people by proxy. But
yeah, yeah, that makes sense to me. And
but
like,
yeah,
I try and get my head around like why people get so mad at like, right, like record labels are like, hey, we got to make this 3 minutes or 3 minutes and 30 seconds, right? And like,
right,
you know, it's pretty apparent that like when most people hear that, they get a little bit disgusted because
yeah,
most of the experience around that is like, that's not healthy. Like, stop limiting music.
yeah, right, right,
And I think we kind of like, we just kind of got there a little bit with that because I think most like transformative processes aren't going to take 3 minutes. So it
right.
depends on what type of music you're making. If you're making music that's supposed to affect someone's heart and at least inspire some change, I think more times than not it's going to take longer than 3 minutes.
Totally,
But
totally.
then we talk about the value of a 3 minute song because I think it's also
Right.
important
It's valuable as well
to
because it's
realize,
like,
yeah,
yeah, having that boundary too is always cool. Like that's, it almost makes it so these are the rules that you work with. In fact, they're the only rules that would make you be able to say this in 3 minutes or whatever. You know what I mean? For this song, and it's a beautiful thing. Not that there are rules, but sometimes constraints add to creativity with that type of
yeah,
thing.
maybe it changes it. Maybe it's
Yep.
not this like transformative, depthy song at that point, and you can
Right.
have those songs in your 7 minute collection and on
For
your album.
sure.
But
For
then
sure.
what would these 3 minute songs be? Maybe it's like a snapshot of joy.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe it's
Yep.
just a present moment where you're like experiencing joy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all it needs to be.
Definitely.
Because
That's,
it's 3
that could
minutes.
do it.
You
Yeah.
can be happy for 3 minutes. Like,
Totally, totally. Yep. That would, yeah, I love it. That would be a cool place to create from too. It's like trusting that emotion in the moment and say, it's like, I'm feeling joy for, and maybe that's what we do if I'm making it into a science kind of, but it is that I'm feeling joy. I'm going to be thankful for this joy right now.
mm,
I'm going to sing about it. And I'm going to, I don't know, what's the word? Value it, but I'm not thinking of the right word, but
like
completely take it in.
embrace it almost.
Embrace it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um,
And not like discount it because you know it's temporary. Because it
right.
is
It
temporary.
is but everything is with that. Yeah. You
Oh,
know? Yeah.
oh, that's true. Yeah, I think for so long though, I was trying to write a song that wasn't temporary, that was timeless.
Right.
And so for me, for it to be timeless for me, it had to almost encapsulate all emotions in one
Right.
song,
Oh, yeah.
which
Yeah.
was a really good exercise for me because I think especially when you're like with other people, it's really important that you can be a chameleon,
Hmm.
um, especially if people are in pain or need something. You might have to adjust
Right.
the way you feel, and you still need to be genuine, like in that.
For sure. Yep. All things to all men, but with genuinity, hopefully. Still.
Yeah.
I like it. I dig it, man.
Dude, talk to me about one of your songs. Like you maybe an older song or a song you've just written, but I'd love to just kind of talk about a song. Yeah, one of your songs.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I guess one that was transformative that just coming to mind in the long form of a song was that major minor tune on the Here record that I did.
Yeah.
That one was one of those where it was like, I think it starts out with me cutting myself off from my family
Mm,
through like the image as a family, like uh, uh I guess it is, it's a serial killing of a family and the
mm,
blood on my hands because of something of it's, and it's supposed to reflect me wanting to get away from that or the dependency on it or this or that or just a history of it.
Mm.
And how going down that route led me to a relationship and then a friendship, and then all of it was leading to me not liking myself or acting out of a place where I didn't like myself. So I was trying to disconnect from all those people. And then in the middle, it's like a voice memo that my mom sent me of me and my brother playing, and I'm singing "I've Got Peace Like a River" to him, and we're just babies, and it's like a reminder of going back to that original heart of things and why you did it, and not wanting um, some type of recognition or not needing it actually anymore, of like being valued by my family or my girlfriend or my friends or other things, and just going back to that um, being of I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and kind of just approaching that even if people have hurt me, or family members who might not have uh, you know been completely open to hearing what I had to say in the times, and just understanding where other people are at, and mostly having grace on myself. Though that was an important one for me, major minor. It just got me thinking about that one if one came to mind.
Dude, thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah.
yeah. That was one of those very special ones though to me, because it was like if I did have my own voice, like hearing myself sing as a child and then having that record, that was that thing for me was very reassuring that I was in the right place and that I was doing the right things, and that stepping out and making my own record without a band was like a good thing, that type of feeling, and knowing that I could do
Mm.
it. It was encouraging.
Mm.
And yeah, and I would like to write a song that's shorter than that, saying all the same things. So it's like, and I might have since then, but I'm trying to be more to the point with specific topics, I guess. I want to make sure it's not all generalized apocalyptic songs or
Mm.
those types of things all the time. And I think I've changed it up a little bit. Keep Me is kind of a change up on that. We were talking about
Mhm.
that one a little bit.
Mhm.
um yeah, and some of those words I'd had for like the last line I think on it I've had for a while,
Mm.
like the keep me satisfied, keep me occupied, keep me in her life, keep me
Mm.
um and yeah, anyway, that was that was special that it came out on that song, because it was something that I'd gone out of, like, I was out of my comfort zone for.
Yeah.
It's something I'd been thinking about trying, of let's film and record a song from scratch and make a song out of it as we go, type of thing. And it was cool though, man. I want to keep doing stuff like that. I'm putting myself out of my comfort zone in whatever way, maybe not in the same way every time, but
Yeah, that song definitely comes across as an organic piece of music. And
yeah,
I
awesome.
think that's really difficult to do that for like in the way that you are explaining the process, like
Yeah,
having a beat machine and putting instrument like layering instruments over top and then like having lyrics that were written a long time ago. Like all of those things I think are things that songwriters have tried to do a lot and have felt like they failed.
right.
Right? Like as soon as they brought that lyric in from a long time ago, or as soon as they like, had the beat machine, it just didn't feel organic. So
Exactly.
that's really cool, man. I think that that's
Yeah,
a huge accomplishment.
thanks, man. I think the reason it worked, I think, is that it informed itself by the end, and then I was like, I'm gonna use this last line, the keep me
Mm,
satisfied, keep me occupied, keep all that. I think that's why it did, because it was like it got me to that point where I was like, okay, and then I guess this is the way it's gonna go. I loved it, man. I haven't listened or played it in a while, but I like it. I like it. It was encouraging when I did it.
dude, if there was one sport, say, you're like born, you're born again. You got another
Yeah,
shot at this life, dude. But your
yeah,
restriction is you have to be a professional athlete.
yeah.
That's
What's
your
my sport?
yeah, dude. What's your sport? Whoa.
That's easy, man. I love basketball. That's the first thing I ever wanted to do, was play basketball professionally.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was before. I mean, not even before, but during my music practice, I'd make sure I had equal practice, like dribbling with both hands outside and doing all of that stuff. So I'd already, I think that's what I wanted to do for a while. And then and then I think in high school is when I decided I wasn't going to ever be big enough, because I got floored by this guy during the summer before freshman year playing ball.
Yeah.
He slammed me and both my elbows got hit, and I couldn't even hold myself up. If I was leaning back on the ground, I couldn't even hold myself up without my elbow popping out. And
Yeah.
um, And on top of it, I had 2 mosh pit injuries on that same elbow, like right after that. It was just like, I'm not playing ball anymore. I'm going to go play music. So,
Yeah.
but that was it. Yeah. Basketball. I'd still love to play basketball.
What position?
I'm not tall enough, but I'd be a
No,
center.
no. This is your second shot.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're right. Anything. Center. I don't know. Center I would be.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I'd be taller. I'd be a little taller and weigh 100 more pounds.
You'd be the slammer,
Yeah,
not the slammed.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I used to be taller, than the rest of the kids, but I stopped growing at like 7th grade. So I was like,
Oh, and then they've probably started.
they started.
I
That's
pretty much
yeah.
started growing in ninth grade when I,
Okay.
which didn't, it's gonna be okay. I would be taller in my next life too.
Good. Yeah. See, let's write it down. Let's ask somebody. How do we do that? How do we set that up? God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
If you're spiritual enough, you can play basketball in your next life.
yeah, see, that's it. You did good. You did good with the music thing, kid. You get what you want. We'll give you the first thing. I'm not sure I would have ever wanted that. I just remember it was something I loved, and
Mm,
keep doing that would be great every day. And I guess that did translate over to music and stuff. So
mm.
I'm happy for that. And I liked the practice I got from it over time. I think any good practice teaches you how to practice in general.
Yeah.
Everything else. But
Perseverance, right? Things
yeah,
like that. Those are skills in themselves that translate, I think, pretty quickly.
definitely.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you've played around with a lot of music here.
Yeah.
You know?
I have
Yeah.
a lot of
So,
different stuff.
yeah. Are you I know you talked about synths and everything like that. Do you have so you have a synth now?
I do. It's a mini log. It's not here right now. It's back at my girlfriend's place. I'm trying to write and record over there too separately, but yeah, it's a mini log or recording mini log,
Yeah.
and it's a poly synth, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Dude, do you I think we've talked about like Radiohead before, right? And Tom
Yes.
York stuff, like
Yes.
the new album, I think.
Yeah, you told me to listen to it.
Dude,
Yeah, that one night.
that guy is a wildcat.
I know. I love it. You showed me the video, I think, of him having the modular synth on top of the grand piano.
Oh,
And not only is he running like the
oh,
piano stuff through it, I think he's running his vocal through it, like
mm.
the Neumann or whatever he's using. It's crazy, man. Anyway, yeah, that. We both were there. We were listening to it. So, but yeah, Tom York with his synthesis, like, that's a whole other world, modular synthesis. That sounds like, but I guess learning the basics right now on the pre-made synthesizer has been really nice for that, because then I can know, oh, I just need these 2 voices and I really like this sound, and it plays really nice if I just run the MIDI guitar through or whatever. I'm trying to think of ways to do that, but yeah, man.
How do you mm. So I feel like there is that technical side of music, right? It's like if you don't know right now, if you don't know the technical side of music, you're gonna have a lot of trouble playing live, right? It's like,
For sure.
everyone's gonna expect that you're gonna be plugged in,
Hmm.
like, right, have speakers and like know how to sing into a mic, like all these technical things.
Yeah,
But also like how much of sharing, an emotion without those technical things is important in giving, sharing a beautiful musical show, right? Just giving someone a show
exactly.
of entertainment.
Yep.
So
Something live.
yeah, so talk to me about like those two things, like maybe your journey with that process and how you not necessarily separate the two, but maybe, if you're spending more time on the technical side and then sometimes you're just like, all right, I'm getting out of here. I'm just going to the mountains or whatever and just
Totally. Yeah.
singing,
Yeah.
right?
Just with an acoustic guitar to guide. Yeah. Um, yeah. How do I separate them? Usually I've always treated the technology as something to like learn so it can get out of the way of the
Mm,
performance. And I really like, so that's, I think, the basis of like me learning how to mix that first record, because the guy dropped the ball after he tracked it,
mm,
or when, I shouldn't say dropped the ball, but had hard times after that, um, and couldn't finish it. Like after I had to learn that, uh, that was like a good step, because I didn't have to worry about that basic stuff I just learned before, and I could release more of my own music without, being so daunted with what a mix was or how to master something or do, that
Mm.
type of thing. And not that it didn't take 10 years to actually get better at even all of that stuff, but
Mm.
um, my goal always is like, I want all that technical stuff out of the way. I almost wish I didn't. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I wish I didn't have to worry about technology. So it was all like the stuff worked immediately, and it was just our intention that let that speaker over there move. But it's like, no, you got to work with electronics. You got to work with like the limits of this reality,
Mm.
um, and actually doing that though, like learning how to do all of that, it allows for more expressive art.
Mm.
At least in my case, if I'm not worried about the loudness of my vocal in the headphone mix over in the closet, it makes it a lot easier for me to sing in there. So knowing that like, crap, I need to pull out this low end because it's making me sing a little sharper, or like I have it way too loud in my headphones, so I'm yelling and it's making it sharper or whatever, that type of thing. Those things like, I almost want to present something like to people and say like, this is the basics of sound. This is this, this is this. So you
Mm.
never have to worry about it again. And so you can set something up that you can have forever, and you can just get lost in the music again. That would be the goal.
Mm.
Because that's when I think that surrender is when uh, you're in tune with your higher self, or what God's been showing you, whatever it is that you're sharing. I think it's important to be able to free yourself from that, which is why we learn how to play the instrument in the first place or do all that. That's all technical practice, but um, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to, at least in a live performance, like I realized when I tried to do only backing tracks with a microphone, it doesn't translate, like it doesn't land.
Mm.
And that was,
Mm.
an ego hit, I guess. Not even that, but it was just like, oh, I thought this would really, like, I thought it sounded cool, and I thought it would really land, but it was like I had to actually step back and say, what's missing out of that? Because a lot of guys came up to me after and they're like, hey man, we like it when you have an acoustic guitar and sing. We just like,
Mm.
that type of thing. Just, and not that, it wasn't just their opinion, but I think it is important to now integrate some of that. Um, I don't know. And I have way more fun playing synth and singing and having a synth and drum part recorded. I don't mind if I have to simplify live now. And,
Mm.
and I almost just want other people to come around to help when those times come, where it's like, I'll get a drummer when I need to, I'll get a guitar player when I need to, and all that stuff. But it is a hard balance having, I guess, limited resources and time and stuff with that, and wanting to just do it all myself sometimes.
Mm.
But I still want it to portray the soul of it. And I think it does. I think if I'm trusting and I'm there in that place and I'm closing my eyes and it's good, then it'll, it's me and God and it'll be fine. But like, you know what I mean? There's things to consider about what's distracting versus what's like perfect for that song or perfect for that performance.
Mm.
And I think with other stuff going on and drums being on with, two guitar parts and this weird stuff going on, I think it was distracting from um how I was feeling in that moment, because I'm trying to sing then to a track, not like be led by my uh, whim or whatever, where, or where it goes with like, I don't know. Sometimes that like the freeness of being live and with your acoustic guitar is that you can change the chords up or change the song in the middle of the song or do, things like that,
Mm.
or add a verse that you're feeling in that moment. And I like having that freedom to play in that, and even write from that. So yeah, but I try to make it easier with technology. I try to always like make it so I don't have to be touching stuff too often, or if I try to make systems set up to where I can just like literally step in here, hit go on the drums, and just record a drum part with what I need to do. So
Yeah.
I think it's always in the effort to just make it easier on myself and not pull out my hair.
Yeah.
So it just feels like that with like how hard it is with learning to mix, and then but it's worth it by the end of it, because I don't know, you think of audio in such a different way. um I noticed that my ears hear better, even music I'm listening to now. I
Mm.
don't know if like you've noticed that, but I'm able to pull out um more than I did, at least. And that was just me hearing something recently, like from 10 years ago. I was a kid and this was my favorite record, and I probably listened to it 100 times or more. But then I listened to it again today. I'm like, why did I never hear that? Whatever it was. But
Yeah.
it's, yeah, that's those things that technology has its benefits, but it still needs to have that some level of that free expression and that passion.
Yeah. Alan Watts kind of describes this problem with people that if you're thinking, you're not you're not fully doing something, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
are you trying to sing? Because right now, like you're thinking, you're not singing.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, I guess it's the object of your focus or your attention. And that's exactly it. If the technology though is taking your attention, or if um you're not warmed up or something, let's say that's a technical thing, it was like warming up.
Mm.
And so you have that in the front of your mind, like, I didn't do my 15-minute warm up before getting on
So
stage here
it's
or
fast.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
But sometimes it'll ruin it if you don't let it go. And hopefully by the end of the first song, you let it go and you remember, oh yeah, this is music, riding a bike. But
Mm.
you know what I mean with that feeling of, yeah, just not wanting to, have that distraction. And maybe that's just an internal practice. Like maybe the technology is always going to break. Maybe that's a guarantee, or that it's a guarantee
Mm.
that like it's always going to be, there's always going to be something. But I want to practice the presence of mind of, hey, remember what this is, and remember where your attention is. And
Yeah. And I think if we approach it, like if we go into it knowing like this is a technical process, I'm gonna need to think through this,
Mhm.
and therefore, um, when I share what I do now, it's gonna be also like from rational. It might be like a teaching video about how I learned how to warm up, but
Exactly.
it's probably not gonna be sharing like that emotive um, like creative presence that we also want to share when we
For
like
sure.
release an album.
Right.
So even in the studio, yeah, it's like, yeah, we do. It sounds like we both do so much to try and just like clear our mind so
Yeah.
that we can just
Yep.
transmit or yeah, just express
Hmm.
like ourselves, like pure human
Yep.
emotion
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Experience. Exactly. And yeah. And that I think that's the best thing we can do.
Mm,
That's the best work I've done, instead of raging against the machine or whatever the thing is. It's the best way to get stuff done, just sanity wise too,
yeah,
mental
yeah.
health wise.
Mm,
But
hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. Dude, it makes sense to me too that like I think people are more just in general when you play live, like a lot of people might come to a show, myself included, to be comfortable, right? To like have an expectation and to like have them meet my expectation.
for
I
sure.
think in
Right.
the silliest way, it's like someone's like, well, you know, John Mayer better play Gravity, or
Right.
like
Right.
it's $200, you know, it's
Right.
I'm
Uh,
pissed, right?
exactly. I better get
Yeah.
my worth out of this with that one song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel it.
Yeah. But then all the way to like, oh, I'm going to see Daye tonight. Like he plays guitar and sings. And then all of
Right.
a sudden you did something different. But man, it's like I feel like we have to motivate and encourage each other into those different waters because although maybe someone felt uncomfortable, like, what's your
Oh
purpose?
yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
purpose?
Exactly. Exactly.
Like grabbing a piece of a tree and like playing string like that at one time was insane. Like that was
Right.
the most uncomfortable thing. Like, why are you playing this wood? Like, you need to be like, you know,
Collecting water or
yeah,
something. You know
no,
what I mean?
I
Anything
was gonna
practical,
say kicking
physical.
berries. Like,
Right. Yeah.
like you need to get food for your family. Why are you
Right.
playing a what? Like, what are you doing, man? And so
Right.
I think in the same sense, like you just standing there, I don't know. I think some of that like tension that people feel is what gets people up, gets people awake.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Definitely. It gets me awake.
Yeah.
I notice that. I'm like, okay. I want to though. I want, yeah, with any of that stuff, it's like I want it to be a letting go of control in that way of like, again, of having like, this needs to be successful in these ways. It makes less of the things that could happen by surprise and make it even more of a success, or not even success, but like it made it more valuable in that it was realer because you were able to connect better with these
Mm,
songs that you're playing that meant something to you, and then it meant something to them because you weren't distracted.
mm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I want to do that more.
Yeah, it's a tricky question. Like, how do you provide a service for a music listener?
Yeah,
It's tough, man.
I know.
It's a tough question.
I've been thinking about it.
There's just so many. I think that's why I love it. There's an infinite amount of options.
Totally, totally. It's gonna have a bunch of different flavors, I think, too.
Mm. I think
I
that's
hope it
why I
does.
end up spending so much time. Because without like exploring enough options, I don't feel like I did it justice. Like I don't feel confident that this is what somebody might enjoy or experience as calming or whatever.
Right, because you think you missed another option or something, or
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I don't
worry about that
like
too.
the gut thing, and there's always going to be obviously more things. Like that's the beauty of it. There's an infinite amount to explore.
Totally, totally.
But then on the other side of the thing, like when you finish a song or a live set, there's that feeling of satisfaction.
Oh,
And
totally.
it sounds like in your song that was something that you're yearning for, you're pursuing.
Yeah, I want that. I think, yeah, I want to. You're talking about keep me in particular.
Yeah.
The yeah, just being being satisfied. Yeah, exactly. I want, and some of that I think was like, I think when I first were writing those words, it was like it almost like sounded a little bit like demanding when I first saw it. I think like keep me this, keep me that, but it wasn't. It was like, and I saw it like when I first had this the like sweetest prayer of it. I think it was on that song. So um yeah, anyway, yeah, sorry, but that was, yeah, I got lost in that, but that's definitely a place I want to get to. I want to be um so satisfied that I'm only living in joy with that. I know that's not like, not to say that there's no sorrow or hard times, but I want the joy to be a consistency in terms of I know who I am and what I am, um, and I trust that I'll be led in the right place at
Hmm.
all times. That type of thing.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. So I hope that I want everybody to do that. I think if people are acting out of their truest joy, um, and I think a lot of my in the past was I was acting out of what people told me would bring me joy, and maybe that's why I had some resentment and made that line about shooting at my family and taking granddad's drugs and doing all that stuff. But um, it is something that everybody has to make their own choice with choosing joy, and specifically the things that they're called to do. I think if they've accumulated those things to push down whatever thing it is over the course of a life, I think it gets more difficult. But um, I would hope that I hope that I find it. I mean, I think I have in a million ways. Like, just I really do. Like, and I'm happy for that, and I'm happy for who I've become, which is a lot different than 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I guess when I wrote that, I was that transition was the whole transition of um, I'm going to trust myself again. I'm going to trust my joy, and I'm going to follow hard after that, despite the things that were falling apart in my life. And actually, those things fell apart so I could do that, you know.
Hmm.
And I'm happy for those times, as chaotic and troubling as they were. Um, and I think even last time you saw me, I'm still crying over stuff, man. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So, but uh, more and more, I'm very appreciative of the little beauties in life, and then I don't know. Sometimes I can wallow so much that I completely ignore things, and I don't pet the dog, and I don't enjoy the cat, or whatever the thing is with. I'm not eating good food, and I'm not cooking for myself, and I'm not, and I'm smoking too much or whatever the thing
Mhm.
is. It's like I know for a fact that um, I'm better off now with the mindset of less attachment to that, even less attachment to what that joy looks like, just having it in my heart with a, you know, a specific thing, you know, I want to have joy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I, I've experienced your music as a gift, like kind of this idea, like, well, you've gone there and wept so that I don't have to. Like, I can
right.
experience it outside of it, like just listening to it, and I can choose to
Totally.
interact with it or not. But you did that, and then you gave me that choice. So I think
Yeah, the option.
that's a beautiful gift that you have to offer. But I think also it sounds like you've done that and that's great, but you also don't just have to be that. There's no pressure of
Right.
always being that for people just
Right.
because you've done that so well. I think too, maybe it sounds like you're gonna experience joy very soon in like this such a pure way, and
Yeah.
share those just present beautiful 3-minute snippets of
Yes.
just
Yeah.
like life's okay.
Yeah.
And we might need some of that right
Totally.
now
Totally.
with the way things are, but it has to be authentic, right? I'm sure there's 100 songs that literally got released today that are like the sun's still out and you can smile and
Right.
everything's fine. But
Yeah.
like I want to hear from you, man. I want to hear from someone that like knows the sun goes away and
Yeah.
that like smiles turn into sadness quickly. But someone from you that, has gone to the depths, but also experiences joy and knows the purpose of it.
Yeah. Totally, man. No, I know. I pray for that, man. I want that. I want the joy, and I want to speak that voice. I think I started again. There were some things I had to finish up saying from about 6 months ago under the, I guess, term blue, where I
Mm,
was going back and describing the things that were a little harder. But I wanted the second part of that to be bright, like blue and bright, you know? And that's what you're
wow.
talking about right now. I've not written anything for bright. Maybe Keep Me could be that.
Dude, you're
But dude, yeah,
there.
I know. But you're just talking about that with like, I think like, and wanting to hear from your perspective of it. I'm like, I want to hear my perspective of it. What's going on with me right now? You know, that type of feeling. That
You're on the doorstep, dude.
I hope, yeah,
You're
dude,
hungry.
I feel it. I feel it.
There's a bowl of spaghetti right in front of you.
Oh my god, I want it. Give me it.
You're ready to eat.
I'm ready to eat. No,
You finish that bowl, my friend.
I
You
will. I will.
finish it. Don't leave a tomato in there.
I won't. I won't. I love tomatoes, man.
Yeah.
I'll eat all of it, dude. I want to. I will. And I want to. And yeah, thanks, man. That's so encouraging. I want I want that joy now, and I think I've been in the dark for too long with that stuff, or swam in it for too long. You know what I mean? Um, so I'm ready to change that for sure. I'm happy for better things. I want a better view at this stuff.
Mm. Me too, bro. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's turn this page together.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks so much for coming on
Yeah,
Atelier
man.
Talks and just
Thanks for
hanging
having me.
out. Yeah, it's been really good catching up with you.
Yeah, man. I miss you. It's been good. Glad
Yeah,
to see your face. Thanks for hanging out.
for sure.